YA nerds, Reading Rue here with another episode of Reading Rue. I don't know why I keep doing that. So today I want to talk to you guys about Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This book is 303 pages and it was released on April 7th in 2015, which kind of seems like a long time ago, but it's only 3 years ago. So let's talk about it. So I'm going to read to you guys the plot. I think I got this one from Goodreads, so we'll see what it says. 16-year-old, not so openly gay Simon Spear prefers to save his drama for the school musical. When an email falls into the wrong hands, his secret is at risk of being thrust into the spotlight. Now Simon is actually being blackmailed. If he doesn't play wingman for class clown Martin, his sexual identity will become everyone's business. Worse, the privacy of Blue, the pen name of a boy he's been emailing, will be compromised. With some messy dynamics emerging in this once tight-knit group of friends, and his email correspondence with Blue growing more flirtatious every day, Simon's junior year has suddenly gotten all kinds of complicated. Now, change-adverse Simon has to find a way to step out of his comfort zone before he's pushed out, without alienating his friends, compromising himself, or fumbling a shot at happiness with the most confusing, adorable guy he's ever met. Oh, correction, he's never met. My bad. So, this is another book I read by listening to audiobook. I'm going to post the review for the other one another time. I just wanted to talk about this book because the movie is coming out next week, and I'm really excited about the movie, so I was also really excited to read the book. I was recommended this book by a friend a couple of years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. So hi Liz, I finally read the book, yay! And, I had a hard time getting into this book at first because the audiobook was a little bit different than what I was used to. This is like my first year even doing audiobooks, but with the amount of work that I've been doing, it's kind of hard for me to sit down and read a book right now. I actually have 5 or 6 books just laying around my room right now that I can't read because I'm too busy, so this seems to be the only way that I can do it. While I was listening to the book, I felt like I was listening to somebody's diary entries. Not a complaint, it was pretty interesting. I did catch myself shouting at Simon a couple of times, or just conversing with him as he was going through all the crazy stuff that was happening to him. He falls in love with Blue and the author tries really hard to not tell us who that person is. I guessed it, because of course I did. You find out who Blue is at about page 250, and then they have a really cute relationship at the end, and it's really sweet. It's a perfect relationship, and the fact that the movie, everyone's touting it as a homosexual rom-com, I think is perfect for what the tone of the book and what that tried to portray. Becky does a really great job with her characterizations. She seems to actually know what's going through Simon's head. He was very convincing, and that's a really hard thing to do, and it's really hard to get into the head of a teenager when you're an adult, at least in my opinion, and I found it really awesome. I felt like I was actually listening to a teenager. I'm not really happy with the way that things are left between Simon and Martin at the end, to be honest. The rest of the book, however, is really great. Being inside Simon's headspace was really interesting, and I'm, again, really excited about the movie. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a really good adaptation just from things I've seen, and from some discussions I've seen online as well. So I guess we'll see. Movie adaptations are tricky. The book is usually better. So go pick it up because it was good. Listen to the audiobook too because the audiobook was really good. The actor who did Simon's voice, I'm unfortunately forgetting his name. He was excellent. He was very different from the other audiobook that I listened to, which also kind of lent to my problem getting into it. Again, not his fault or a complaint, I'm just weird. So if you want to listen to the audiobook, totally pick that up. It was, again, a really good one. really convincing. The actor didn't really do voices for each character, but even so, it was easy to follow along, and it was just a really good story overall. So there's actually not a lot of tropes in this book, mostly because a lot of the tropes that I have are kind of like negative ways to look at books, I guess. Well, anyway, so if you've never watched an episode of this before, I made this list of tropes. There's 37 of them from my own experience as a reader, my experience as a librarian, and from talking to the librarians and looking at lists online of what YA books fall into. So if you want to know what any of them are, I usually put the definitions down below in the description, and you could just read them up. If you guys come up with any tropes that you see a lot in books that I've never mentioned, please feel free to let me know in the comments. It actually dawned on me the other day that I could be missing some myself, so that 37 may turn into 50 before I know it. So here we go. So we have No School, Clueless Adults, Beauty Blind, Mr. Tall, Dark, and Perfect, and Love Cures All. For my rating, I want to give this book an 8 out of 10 because it was hella awkward. Again, you're in the head of like a 16, 17-year-old boy, and he talks about some things, and there were plenty of times where I was like, I need to fast forward to the next part. Again, the story was excellent. Characterizations were amazing. I just could have used a little bit less description. That's just me. You may feel completely different, and I will say again, it was also, while it was embarrassing, it was also refreshing because a lot of authors don't go there. Read the book, you'll see what I mean. Don't listen to me, it's fine. So for my favorite part, I've noticed that I'm making these videos a little too long, so instead of reading anything, I've decided that I'm just going to talk about my favorite part. There may be another video where I read, maybe, who knows. I might go back and forth to it. This is all an experiment, so who knows what's going to happen. But for my favorite part of this book, it was actually the really adorable flirtatious emails that Blue and Simon have back and forth. They take up about half of the book, so again, I'm not going to read them to you because that would ruin everything. But they are adorable, and they are very, like, teenage, like, love story without the tragedy. And they were just very refreshing and very innocent, but not innocent, like most teenagers. So I enjoyed them the best. It was always nice to like pull back from Simon's mind and see him conversing with somebody else, because that's told in third person, and it's actually told as an email prompt on the page. So it says like from bluegreen118@gmail.com to from hour to hour .note to note @gmail.com at this time, this date, subject line, and then the body. So I really liked that whole design element of it. It made for a very good break from the book. I know I'm like talking about it like I read the actual book when I listened to it, but even listening to it, it was like a nice like break off from the rest of the book. Again, being in somebody's head for 303 pages is very hard, especially when you're listening to it. So to have those breaks where you're talking to Blue, and there's my cat being crazy, where you're talking to Blue or he's talking to Blue and Blue's talking back, and it like the way that their relationship kind of evolves was really cool and interesting, and I like the way that they did that. I think that's going to be a big part of the movie, at least from the trailers it seems like it, so I'm actually really happy about that because, you know, it'll make the movie feel more like the book. For the age range on this one, I'm going to have to say 15, 16, 17 plus. My cat is still going crazy behind me. Stop it. And that's for sexual situations and cursing. There's a lot of cursing in this book. Hey, stop it. And there is some mention of some sexual situations, both solo and not solo, if you catch my drift. So that's all I have to say about Love, Simon, or Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Again, I'm really excited for the movie. I hope you guys are too. March has been a really great month for movies, guys. We have A Wrinkle in Time, Love, Simon, just great movies all around. I'm so excited. I'm going to talk about A Wrinkle in Time later. If you would like to get a notification for when that happens, you might want to click the subscribe button, or if you just like to listen to me rant and watch my cat run around behind me while I'm talking about books, you can hit it for that too. Make sure you hit the little bell so you get notifications. I will update every other Thursday, and I guess that's all I have to say about this one, so peace out, YA nerds.